I'd rather have less signals that work than more signals that don't.
Forex Morning Mayhem is a must-listen podcast for currency traders. Get a curated watch list, insightful market analysis, and crucial news updates, plus trading tips for all levels. But remember, it's educational, not investment advice. Scan the QR code in the description to join our free Trade Faction Slack channel for live trade calls. If you like the podcast, please follow and share. Let's get started. Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, March 28th, 2025, and you're listening to Forex Morning Mayhem. It's time for the daily market briefing. In today's headlines, Asian Pacific stocks faced downward pressure on Friday as investors grappled with ongoing concerns about tariffs and economic growth ahead of next week's Liberation Day celebrations. Markets also braced for the upcoming release of the US PCE price index. The US dollar index remained range-bound after weakening the previous day, while USD JPY retreated below 151.00 due to underperforming Japanese stocks and stronger than expected Tokyo CPI data. Reports suggest the European Union is planning to crack down on big tech companies' US service exports, while also considering limiting fines for Apple and Meta to avoid angering President Trump. European equity futures indicated a lower opening, with Euro Stoxx 50 futures down 0.3% following Thursday's 0.6% decline in the cash market. The day ahead features key economic data releases including UK Q4 GDP and retail sales, German consumer sentiment and unemployment figures, French and Spanish CPI, Eurozone sentiment indicators, and the US PCE and consumption data for February. Additionally, speeches from ECB and Fed officials, including Bostic, Barr, and De Guindos, are expected, along with Italian bond auctions. Stay tuned for a currency market update with Bill and Dave up next. Thanks for listening to Forex Morning Mayhem. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review if you like the show.
Let's start with the currency pairs. Pound Canadian dollar in a downtrend, waiting for a short sweet spot to set up on that. Singapore dollar, Swiss franc is in the zone, downtrend, waiting for a short sweet spot to set up. US Canadian dollar in the zone, short sweet spot waiting for it to set up. US Swiss franc, nothing. So we only had three
Yeah.
that are actually in the zone waiting to set up. Interesting. Yeah, it's been weird trading. I've had fantastic success with the scalping system. I'll have to show you that in detail one day. That's filled in the gap for I would classify now. I gotta come up with a new name for it because I found somebody else using my name. So let's call it the no name signal as more of a, I don't know, is it swing trading? Would you call it swing trading? I still think it's a day trade signal, but it's just infrequent.
Yeah, I would
But
say
high
that.
quality. I'd rather have less signals that work than more signals that don't. I guess that makes sense, right?
Yeah, true.
We just have to learn to be patient, which is hard for a lot of people in trading.
Oh, yeah.
All right, which brings me to technical analysis all stars.
Oh, boy.
Today's entry, boy, did it take me a long time to find this one.
Really?
Yeah, I went through probably about 15, 20 indicators before I came up with this one. This is from Lux Algo. Don't know if you're familiar with that, but yeah, they write a lot of indicators and they write pretty good indicators. Here's what this one is all about. This is called Periodic Linear Regressions with Rolling Periods. It's a long ass name.
Okay.
Basically, what it is, you can lay a linear regression based on another time frame on top of the price line. And at first I was like, but I found it to be actually quite interesting and useful. Let me see if my marker's working. Yes. So here's how this works. If you go in and look at the settings here, a couple of things I wanted to point out. This is where you can tell it whether you want it rolling or static. I prefer rolling because static just cuts it off. Rolling is always recalculating as new
Yeah,
prices are happening. And
that's
then
pretty
this is really the only place that you need to make a decision on your settings, which is what this is always going to be a higher time frame than what you're on. Okay. So I think I'm on a 1 minute chart. Yeah. I was playing Hudson with these, and the one I liked the best was I have a 30-minute overlay. So it's running a regression based on the 30-minute chart, and it's overlaying it on top of a 1 minute chart.
okay. It took me a minute
Okay.
to figure out what was going on there.
Okay. And that gave me, I'll just change it just so you can see how it recalculates it. And so if I get down like to a 5 minute chart, it's giving me every little twitch going back and forth in price. If you
Yeah.
want a smoothed out version of that, I go to a little bit higher time frame, which I
Okay.
found curve fits better into price action.
Hmm.
So that's the one thing that you can set up. The other thing is you can set up this color gradient to tell you when to go from long to short. I used watermelon colors, so from green to
Yeah.
like watermelon red.
Hmm.
That was easy to see. I did notice this gradient setting does absolutely nothing, or at least I'm not seeing it properly, so I can't tell. But maybe there's like super little idiosyncrasies in color where it varies from gradient. And then this last dashboard button, that's for this guy right here. It just tells you quickly what time frame you're overlaying, which I suppose would help you. It makes sense that you need that information.
Actually, I can see some of the gradient stuff.
And the gradient is nice, especially like in this area here where and then it starts to go down, and then you can see the colors starting to change. So a lot of times when you're very black and white about signal, you never get this gray area. So
Yeah.
like you're hanging on, and then next thing you know, it's too late and it's dropped. Whereas with this gradient idea, I'm sure what he's doing here is he just keeps rerunning the calculation, and as the numbers dissipate, the colors start to change. So that gives you a little bit of a heads up that things are starting to fade. So if you're in a long, you
Mhm.
should probably get out, or if you're in a short, you should probably get out. Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. So this is, it's an annoying, I should turn that off, but too late now. So anyway, that's how this works. And so it meets the first criteria of getting to be looked at as an all-star, which is that it does in fact work. I would say it's 70 or 80% of the second criteria, which is easy to use slash intuitive. When I first
Hmm.
brought it up, I didn't immediately understand what it did. Just like you said, you looked at it from
Yeah, it took me a
you went,
minute.
oh, okay, that's what it does. Then I understood what all I needed to tweak on the dials. Yeah, I think this is a pretty decent indicator if people want to use linear regression. As you can see, and this is something I say all the time, there's a million ways to do this. So you got to just pick the one that you like and are comfy with and stick with it. Any thoughts on this, David?
Interesting to say the least on this. I can see how this might be useful to tell where things are going. I wouldn't use it just because I can, like I said, I can see and I understand. But yeah, as I sit in the chair, I think I would use this more as a learning tool. When otherwise, you know, you're going to get a big peak. It's probably going to go back down on this. But I guess it saves you from drawing a bunch of stuff and figuring out yourself.
Yeah, I would use it more as a sentiment indicator than a indicator to tell me when to get in and out of the market. I'd have it on the side and go, oh, it's starting to get shitty. I should probably think about getting out.